Namaste. Welcome back to SLG Hello Doctor, your fortnightly capsule of all things health. November is Epilepsy Awareness Month. 1 in 26 people will be diagnosed with epilepsy at some point during their lifetime. It is the fourth most common neurological diseases, yet it remains one of the least understood. Epilepsy, unfortunately, has historically been misunderstood and stigmatized. Most attributed it to possession and the supernatural. Hippocrates, the great Roman medical practitioner, believed that epilepsy derived from the brain had hereditary aspects and that how it presented itself in childhood determined how it affected the rest of an individual's life. But he wasn't believed until well into the 17th century. The stigma associated with epilepsy continues, in some measure, even to this day. Today, Dr. Suma Kandukuri, consultant neurologist at SLG Hospitals Hyderabad, will bust the myths surrounding epilepsy. She will also tell us how to tackle it, both medically and emotionally. Dr. Suma, welcome to SLG Hello Doctor. We are so glad to have you here with us today.
Good morning, everyone. Today I am talking about epilepsy. What are the causes of epilepsy? What is the management of epilepsy? And what are the advances in the management of epilepsy?
I'm hoping our conversation of today will put to rest a lot of misconceptions that people like us hold about epilepsy. My first question to you would be, what is epilepsy? And can all seizures be classified as epilepsy?
Epilepsy is the disorder of the brain wherein there is a recurrent tendency of the brain to produce seizures without any warning and without any reason. If a person had a single episode of seizure, we don't say it is an epilepsy. Epilepsy is a disorder where the patient should get at least more than 2 episodes of seizures in 24 hours apart. Let us know what is a seizure. Seizure is nothing but it is an electric storm of the brain. Whenever there is an irritation in the brain, that part of the brain is depolarized and that will produce the seizure. So, if the patient has more than 2 episodes of seizure in 24 hours apart without an underlying reason and without any warning signs, then we can call it as an epilepsy. Epilepsy is a disturbance in the brain. So, there are many causes for the seizures to take place. So, we need to differentiate between a seizure and an epilepsy. Seizure is nothing but an electric storm of the brain, as I told you previously. So, there are many causes of the seizure, like when there is a decreased blood sugars, when there is a decreased sodium levels, calcium levels or magnesium levels, or when there is an acute head injury, or in children when there is an acute onset of fever. These are called as acute symptomatic seizures. And in some patients, if they take a binge of alcohol, they will have a seizure. These patients are not classified as epileptic. These patients are getting the seizures because of acute metabolic changes. So, we need to investigate these patients whether they have a recurrent tendency of seizures. If they have recurrent tendency of seizures without any precipitating factors, then only we can say he is epileptic.
Doctor, you have clarified what are seizures. Now, can you tell us what causes epilepsy?
There are many causes for epilepsy. If there is an injury to the brain, or if there is an infection to the brain, or if there is a hereditary predisposition to get the seizures, then they will have epilepsy. There are many causes of injury to the brain, like example traumatic brain injury, or stroke to the brain will cause an gliotic focus in the brain that will cause recurrent tendency to produce seizures, or any birth injury. Birth injury is nothing but at the time of delivery, if the delivery has not done properly, baby will have less oxygen to the brain that will cause injury to the brain. Those kind of babies will have recurrent tendency of seizures. And any tumors in the brain, that tumors might be benign tumors or malignant tumors, or any infectious focus in the brain. In India, most common cause of infectious focus that causing seizures in a patient is a neurocysticercosis and tuberculous infections in the brain. And other infections like encephalitis of the brain will also cause seizures and Some birthmarks in the brain will also cause epilepsy. For example, some babies are born with some abnormal cortical tissue in the brain. Those are called as focal cortical dysplasias or abnormal development of the brain. These babies are prone for recurrent seizures.
Doctor, who's more prone to be affected by epilepsy? Is it age related at all?
Irrespective of the age group, anyone can be affected with the epilepsy, but the patients who have permanent injury in the brain are more prone for epilepsy. For example, any birth injuries like hypoxic injury of the brain and any focal cortical dysplasias, these are more prone for recurrent seizures. And in elderly age group, if they have a stroke or any traumatic brain injury, these are more prone for epilepsy. And some genetic causes of epilepsy like juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, if they don't take treatment, they are more prone for recurrent seizures.
What are the symptoms to look out for as far as epilepsy is concerned, especially in the early childhood or later on in adulthood?
There are many other people who will present with subtle symptoms. The symptoms of the epilepsy depends upon the area of the brain that has an irritating focus. For example, if the motor area of the brain is irritated, then the patient present with subtle symptoms like jerking of his body parts, either left side of the body or right side of the body, which lasts for less than a minute without any loss of consciousness or without any loss of awareness. If the irritating focus in the sensory area, then the patient may come with intermittent numbness or paresthesias of the one half of the body or either one arm or one leg. And some kind of epileptic focus will be there in the area of the brain where there is a control of sight. If those areas of the brain is irritated, then patient may come with aura, we'll say it as an aura. They come with like symptoms like they are seeing rainbow colors and they are having sudden loss of sight to one half, either right half of the field or left half of the field, followed by some subtle symptoms. These symptoms are ignored by the patients, but these are also the manifestation of the epilepsy. In some other kind of generalized seizures, patients may come with blinking of eyelids or lip smacking movements. These usually seen in absent type of epilepsy. Usually these kind of epileptic seizures are seen in young age group, that is less than 10 years of age. And some kind of generalized epileptiform discharges, they may present with sudden jerky movements. These are also other subtle symptoms of the epilepsy. Most of the people will ignore these type of epileptic symptoms.
What are the ways of diagnosing epilepsy and what are the investigations that it calls for?
Basically, epilepsy is diagnosed most of the time by the history given by the patient. They will describe the fit that the patient has. They will say that the patient has lost his consciousness, he had some jerky movements of whole body and he had some tongue bite. These symptoms are very much necessary to diagnose an epilepsy. As I told you that there are subtle symptoms of epilepsy like eye blinking, lip smacking and jerky movements of the one half of the hand and some abnormalities of the vision. These symptoms are necessary to diagnose the epilepsy. And there are some investigations that to be done to diagnose the epilepsy, like EEG. EEG is nothing but electroencephalogram. We'll record the electrical activity of the brain. We'll keep some electrodes over the scalp and we'll record the electrical activity. It is just like ECG that we record the electrical activity of the heart. And other test usually we advise is the MRI brain. MRI brain is the very sensitive and the specific test for the epilepsy. These are the common investigations that are necessary for the diagnosis of epilepsy.
Doctor, a friend's son actually developed seizures when he was in his early 20s, and we put it down to the tension of going abroad, studying, living alone on his own. But later on when he sought treatment, it was told that it was because of a birth injury. So we all were left wondering why, if it was a birth injury, seizures manifested so late in his life.
This is a common question asked by the many patients. Even though there is a birth injury, there must be some precipitating factors to decrease the threshold of the brain to produce the seizure. As I told you that seizure is nothing but the electrical storm of the brain. So for this electrical storm, there should be some threshold. In the adolescent age group, Usually they are under stress of the studies, and they won't have proper sleep, and some people are addicted with some alcohol, and these are all the precipitating factors to produce the seizure at that age group, even though the patient has a birth injury. And in females, they will have menstrual cycles will be started in the adolescent age group. These hormonal changes also will precipitate the seizures. That is the reason, even though they have a birth injury, they will manifest seizures in the adolescent or late in the adult.
What are the particular challenges that epileptic women have to face?
Treatment will be same for male and female patients till 10 years of their life. But after 10 years, once the female enters into the adolescent age group, because of hormonal changes, the treatment of epilepsy will vary to the male and the female children. Why? Because during hormonal changes, some seizures are precipitated, and hormones are also affect on the anti-epileptic drugs. So basing on the type of the seizure and basing on the anti-epileptic drugs the child is taking, we need to titrate the treatment. Woman has to get married, and woman has to become pregnant, and also she has to feed her baby. During these times, many patients have many questions regarding whether they can become pregnant or not, how pregnancy will affect the seizures, and how the anti-epileptic drugs that we give to control the seizures will affect the developing baby in the womb. So now there are many advanced new anti-epileptic drugs that have very less effect on the developing fetus. So women with epilepsy can also continue their pregnancy, and at the same time they should continue their anti-epileptic drugs. But during the third trimester of the pregnancy, as the weight of the mother will increase, we need to titrate the dose of anti-epileptic drugs. And usually we tell the woman who is going to become pregnant, they should have a pre-conceptional counseling. During this pre-conceptional counseling, we'll tell the mother to not to discontinue the anti-epileptic drugs, and she has to take one vitamin tablet, that is a simple folic acid tablet, daily along with her anti-epileptic drugs, and at least 1 year of seizure-free period is necessary before she will become a pregnant. If she is asymptomatic for 1 year, the recurrence of seizures during pregnancy is less. And during pregnancy also, she requires regular follow-up with the doctor, so that basing on the change in the weight, we need to titrate her anti-epileptic drug medication. And many anti-epileptic drugs are safe during lactation also. Very less percentage of the drug is excreted in the breast milk. We advise the mother to give her breastfeed, and after that take her medication. Why? Because after taking medication, after 1 hour, the blood levels of the drug will reach to the peak levels. So, after feeding her baby, she can take her anti-epileptic drugs.
It's break time on SLG Hello Doctor.
ప్రపంచ స్థాయి మల్టీ సూపర్ స్పెషాలిటీ హాస్పిటల్ SLG హాస్పిటల్స్
4 ఎకరాల సువిశాల ప్రాంగణంలో 999 బెడ్ల సౌకర్యంతో గ్లోబల్ JCI అండ్ NABH ప్రమాణాలతో అనుభవజ్ఞులైన వైద్య నిపుణులతో అత్యంత క్లిష్టమైన గుండె సమస్యలకు శస్త్రచికిత్సలు చేయబడును.
మెదడు మరియు నరాల సంబంధిత సమస్యలకు మొట్టమొదటిగా న్యూరో నావిగేషన్ టెక్నాలజీతో చికిత్స.
క్యాన్సర్ చికిత్స కోసం లీనాక్ వంటి అత్యాధునిక వైద్య పరికరాలతో చికిత్స.
కీళ్ల నొప్పులు, ఎముకలకు సంబంధించిన సమస్యలకు మరియు జీర్ణకోశ సంబంధిత వ్యాధులకు మెరుగైన వైద్యం అందించబడును.
20 అత్యాధునిక ఆపరేషన్ థియేటర్లు, 200 ICU బెడ్స్, అత్యాధునిక డయాలసిస్ సదుపాయం కలదు.
24 గంటలు ఎమర్జెన్సీ, డయాగ్నోస్టిక్, ఫార్మసీ సేవలు.
3 టెస్ట్ల MRI, CT స్కాన్ వంటి అత్యాధునిక వైద్య పరికరాలతో మరింత మెరుగైన సంరక్షణకు మీ ఎంపిక SLG హాస్పిటల్స్, నిజాంపేట్ రోడ్, బాచుపల్లి, హైదరాబాద్.
సెల్ నంబర్స్ 9133395500.
ఫోన్ నంబర్స్ 914023785678 మరియు 48525678.
టోల్ ఫ్రీ నంబర్ 1800599220.
ఎమర్జెన్సీ 7799235678.
ఆంధ్ర ఆరోగ్యశ్రీ సదుపాయం కూడా కలదు.
Welcome back to SLG Hello Doctor. We are in conversation with Dr. Suma Kandukuri, consultant neurologist at SLG Hospitals, Hyderabad, who is talking to us about epilepsy. Doctor, there must be so many treatments for epilepsy and so many advancements also. So are they all available here? And can epilepsy be treated surgically? Does it need surgical intervention?
80% of the people will respond with the anti-epileptic drugs. Remaining 20% may require more than 2 or 3 anti-epileptic drugs. These are the people we classify them as a refractory epilepsy. For these kind of people, there are surgical treatment is there and some special diets are there. Surgical treatment, we will evaluate the patient. That is called as a pre-surgical evaluation. In this pre-surgical evaluation, we will do 24-hour EEG monitoring, that is video EEG monitoring, and some PET scan, SPECT scan is done. These are all available in our hospital. And during this scan, we'll come to the conclusion that is there any particular focus in the brain. Basing on that, we'll plan the surgical treatment of the epilepsy. In children with refractory epilepsy, we can advise a ketogenic diet. In this ketogenic diet, we'll give the child with high fatty diet with low carbohydrate diet. With this kind of diet, some children will respond to the treatment.
Are there any side effects of such medical or surgical treatments?
For every medicine, there is a side effect. But we need to take the risk-benefit ratio and we need to start the treatment. Initially, we will start the anti-epileptic drugs in a minimal effective dose to decrease the side effects. Most of the people will tolerate those minor side effects. And when we start the treatment to a woman with epilepsy who is planning for the pregnancy, we are more concerned about the developing fetus. We'll start the medication that has a less effect on the developing fetus. Some are the medications that will cause fetal congenital malformations. So we avoid those medications and we start the medicine in a minimum effective dose to these women with epilepsy.
How long should a patient seek treatment for epilepsy, and can it be cured completely?
Usually we'll start the anti-epileptic drugs and we'll tell the patients to continue the anti-epileptic drugs daily without skipping any dose in a sufficient dose for a minimum of 3 to 5 years. If they are not having any seizures during this period, these are the candidates that we can stop the anti-epileptic drugs. More than 60% of the patients are seizure free after taking the sufficient amount of the drug in a sufficient period. But there are some patients, as I told you before, who have birth injuries. They have a recurrent episode of seizures. After stopping the medication, they will have seizures. So these are the candidates. They need to take the medications for the lifelong.
Post-treatment, whether it's medical or surgical, how can one prevent recurrence?
More than 60% of the patients with sufficient duration of anti-epileptic drugs are seizure free. Even though in these patients, we'll advise them to have a regular sleep, regular diet and decrease stress and also decrease the intake of alcohol, or they have to quit the alcohol completely to prevent the recurrence of the seizures. In a surgically treated patients, these patients may require, after surgery, very low dose of anti-epileptic drugs. They should continue for the long time.
Doctor, is there the risk of a person dying during seizure or due to a seizure?
It's a very rare complication that we see. It is called as a SUDEP, that is called as sudden unexpected death in epileptics. It's a very rare complication. At the time of seizure or post-seizure, patient may have a sudden cardiac arrest and a death. But these complications can be prevented if the patient continue their anti-epileptic drugs in a sufficient dose, in a sufficient duration.
Are there any warning signs that a patient of epilepsy may feel coming on, and in that case, what precautions can they take?
Some people will have the warning signs for the epilepsy, like they will have a fearfulness, some abdominal discomfort, some numbness or some tingling sensation of the limbs, some jerky movements of the limbs. When they will find these warning signs, some people will go to the safe place to protect themselves. But most of the people will not have any warning signs. They will have sudden onset of loss of consciousness and they will fall down. They will fall down while driving, while doing the work, and they have a major injuries. These are the patients we should advise them not to drive and take regular medications in an appropriate dose, and they should have a regular sleep, regular diet, and they have to decrease the stress and they have to decrease the intake of alcohol.
As a parting message, doctor, can you tell us what the do's and don'ts are while handling a person having a seizure?
As I told you that some people will have epilepsy without any warning sign. They can fall at any place, like on the road, like in a working place or anywhere. When we see an epileptic patient, we should take care that he should get a appropriate ventilation, and we should loosen his clothes, and we should keep him to one side so that any secretions that is coming out from the mouth should not enter into the lungs. And we should remove any sharp objects that is present around him. And we should not hold the limbs of the patient firmly, or we should not keep any hard substance inside his mouth, or we should not keep any hard substance in his hands.
Thank you, doctor, for those very, very practical pieces of wisdom. Glad to have had you on SLG Hello Doctor.
Thanks for having me in the SLG Hello Doctor program.
We'll be back with you in 2 weeks from now. Until then, be aware, be safe, be healthy. Namaste. Viewers, don't forget to hit the bell icon to keep yourself updated on all that's happening at SLG Hello Doctor.